was the master of reinvention, a musical genius who defied genres and generations. David Bowie has died at the age of 69. He succumbed last night to an 18-month battle with cancer. Equally tragic, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer had just released a new album, Black Star, last Friday on his 69th birthday. Just the latest in his iconic body of work.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Hey, Major Man, take things over. I could escape this feeling with my Chinese girl. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. The young American.
Truly a music legend, and no surprise here, celebrity tributes are pouring in on social media about Bowie, including one from my next guest, a longtime friend of Bowie's and former band leader for Kiss, Gene Simmons. He tweeted, "David Bowie, you will be sorely missed. Bowie's Changes and the Ziggy Story songs were a major influence for me." Also joining me today, Robert Risko, a celebrity portrait artist who drew this image, take a look, as a tribute to Bowie for The New Yorker. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Really appreciate you coming on today. And Gene, I want to start with you. First off, I'm sorry about the loss of your friend. Tell us, how did he influence you?
Well, it happened early on. I mentioned this before, but in 1975, Kiss was recording at the same recording studio David was, and we didn't know each other or anything. We were certainly in awe of his talent, and we were aware of Ziggy and, you know, all the great songs, Changes and so on. And for some reason, he was kind enough to invite us into the studio to listen to tracks of his new record. And of course, we were scared to death. So I walk in, and I'll never forget this. As I walked into the studio, he looked me straight in the eye, straight in the face, and he smiled. And I was taken aback because, again, we'd never met. And he stuck his hand out and he said, "Hello, wonderful to meet you. Unassuming, no ego. You can say lots of things about David Bowie. He was a game changer, marched to the beat of his own drums, never looked to see what anybody else was doing. You can't quite put your finger on who he is, what he's done. He completely was a unique artist, a visionary." Now again, there are a lot of famous people who make records and are in movies and stuff like that. That ain't the same thing. The air up there is rarefied and is reserved for a few. Icon is reserved for a few. David Bowie was a giant.
And let's talk about that with Robert. You create celebrity portraits. What kind of an influence or inspiration was Bowie for you as an artist? Are you a Bowie fan? Of course, he is someone who is a bit of a chameleon, but more than that, has had an impact on so many people, not just who listen to his music.
I've been a Bowie fan ever since the beginning, since the 70s when I was in high school. A friend in Pittsburgh turned me on to him, and I immediately was attracted to his androgynous image at the time. And I followed Bowie personally and professionally. I'm a fan of his. He's a chameleon. He inspired my own kind of wearing personalities and the kind of work I do, because I have to draw people for a living. And I always saw him as the artist's artist. I always thought that he was the muse for so many creative people. I mean, there wouldn't be a Madonna, there wouldn't be, you know, Marilyn Manson, so many people, names off the top of my head. But he, what he did though was he didn't out and out copy people. He took things from the culture and he recomposed it in a collage kind of way that was distinctively his style. No one else could duplicate that. It was from the heart. And it is in our dream state of consciousness, which is where all art lives.
Gene, I have to ask you, he just released his album this past Friday, Black Star. Have you listened to it? And if so, what do you think?
Yeah. Again, he continues to break the rules, especially his own rules. You know, everybody else is trapped. Us too. You know, we're very aware of what the fans want. You don't want to dare make a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn. You want to go right down the middle. He never cared about that. He just says, this is what's inside of me. This is what I'm going to do because I believe in it. I think it's worth noting, and I mentioned it before, The very first lyric shows you the dignity and the greatness of the man. The very first lyric in Black Star, his new album, is, "I'm up, look up there, I'm in heaven." You know, he knew he was dying. He's been battling cancer for a year, and he did it with dignity and grace and didn't use media, for the cheapness of what some of us do. It's a very, very sad state of affairs. The world is much worse off without David Bowie.
And quickly to you both, Gene, first to you, what do you think his legacy will be going forward and his influence will be on future musicians?
I'll tell you what the legacy is, and I'm clear about this because it's happened to me. Somewhere out there's a 15-year-old kid who's in Nebraska or Wyoming or someplace, and while he's listening to all the pop stars and the rap stars and all that stuff, he may hear All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople, which David wrote and produced and gave to the band. He may hear Changes, and his life will never be the same, and he'll be inspired. The thing about Bowie, the iconic nature of him, it's generational and doesn't stop with fashion and stuff like that. He continues on. His music is his legacy, and his DNA is in me, and it's going to be in the next 15-year-old kid who's going to start his own band and become great because of David Bowie.
That's a good way to sum it up. Robert, to you.
And I will agree with Gene and add to that again, I will say he was the artist's artist, and other creative people look to him for direction, I think. And I think that follow your heart was probably something he always thought, although we don't know, but just in creativity he went into the unknown. There was nothing ever predictable, and I would say he would be the most unpredictable entertainer that there ever was.
Touching tribute from you both. Gene Simmons, Robert Risko, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And up next, right here in the newsroom,